There behind me you have what's called the flame towers. Basically a symbol of Baku and flames because of the oil. And it's quite an iconic building for Baku. So this is quite a nice promenade. In Baku. We started from the Airbnb around 9 o'clock and then we took the tram for a walk, including the baby, of course. Now we've been well through, I would say, the sort of main city center, which first off was a small cafe in a super cozy small street where they had like tons of different coffee shops. After that we continued walking up to the old city of Baku, and now we're back down at the promenade. And for us at least, it is surprisingly clean and it's easy to move around, especially also with a tram. Nonetheless, there seems to be a really nice vibe here. It definitely has some resemblance to Turkmenistan, but then again, Baku is also on the ancient Silk Road, so maybe that's, I don't know, the reason why there are some similarities. Another thing I just noticed, when you walk down they have these underground tunnels underneath some of the main roads, and there you see nothing of, like, you can say Western commercials, like billboards, whatever. It's all just, you can say, plain. Maybe there's some local advertising of, you can say, landscapes, whatever, something that Azerbaijan has to offer, but there's no commercial advertisement. And I think actually that's quite nice. Now we're back at the promenade, as I said, and I think we're walking back to the Airbnb, just so the baby can get some playtime. Might make a stop along the way to buy something to drink. But yeah, other than that, just taking a very chill day. Good morning from the second day, the second full day here in Baku. Today we had a very slow morning, which was nice. In total we have, I think, 10 full days here in Baku, which I think many would probably argue is too much. But we are on the real first holiday together with our baby, so I think it's good for us just to have plenty of time. And we do have an Airbnb with tons of space and a balcony to relax, including a washing machine, so that's amazing. But as you can see behind me today, we've gone up to these flame towers, as they're called. They are a symbol of the wealth created by oil here in the country. And in the evening you will see them being lit up by flames and the Azerbaijani flag as well. We took the tram up here with a funicular and it cost 2 Azerbaijani manat. So that's really not that bad. I think that equals to around €1 in total for 2 tickets basically. That being said, once you are up here, it honestly seems like it's fairly okay with the stroller, and also if you are in a wheelchair. It seems like there's one way or the other to move around without facing stairs. And at least now we're able to come up to, I think it's called the Baku viewpoint, which provides a super nice overview over the city. Now, behind me there, you will see a memorial. It's a memorial for the first Armenian-Azerbaijan war that escalated in 1992 after the Soviet Union collapsed. Then Armenia and Azerbaijan came into a conflict regarding the Nagorno-Karabakh region in southern Armenia, where Armenia committed a genocide on the Azerbaijani population down in southern Armenia. Today you can still hear sometimes that the conflict is somewhat ongoing, and so that memorial is to honor those heroes that died back in 1992 onwards to 1994, I think, for the first war. So we decided to walk down from the flame towers, and that is actually also fairly doable, I would say. The big building that you see behind me there, which is Google, apparently that's where the president sits. Google says it's the official office of the president. That of course also explains the big level of security. And unlike the French architecture that we often see around this city, this one is, I would say, distinctively Soviet, which is also fair. But I think that is really what makes this city interesting to walk around in, is that you have these, I would say, three distinctly different architecture styles. You have the Persian influence, also you can say with the mosques and the madrasas, and then you have the Soviet influence, and then you have, probably older than that, you have the French influence, which I think affected at least Azerbaijan. I think actually also St. Petersburg and Moscow in Russia affected those cities back to like the 1800s. So it is very characteristic when walking around. We are now down at Nizami Street, which is basically the main pedestrian street here in Baku. That's where there's a bunch of souvenir shops and all of that. Normally we'd probably stay away from an area like that. We would, at least back in our hometown and also in the capital of Denmark, Copenhagen, we would, let me say, always stay away from places like that. But we decided that... Good, thanks, we're good. Another example of why we would normally stay away from a street like that. But nonetheless, it is nice just to see, and again, with really nice architectures. You can also see sort of behind me. It doesn't really feel like we are in the far east of Europe, if even we can call it Europe here. Now, this is a part of the old town that is, I would probably say, the most famous. So when you Google Baku, then you get the viewpoint behind me where you have like part of the old town leading up to the flame towers. Now, I would say it does feel very touristy to go here, but of course it's also very, very fancy. Hey man, how's it going?
Do you want to take pictures like your photo made in Tove? 10 manat.
Oh, to go up there?
Yes.
Maybe during the next couple of days. I need to go home now. So it is definitely one of those really iconic vistas that you get here in the city. But I said earlier, there's so much more, you can say, architecture and different vibes to chase throughout the city because of all the different architecture. Now I just need to find Sissel and the baby so we can go back home. She has been surrounded by Chinese tourists, so that's perfect. Now, to be fair, the old town is not that big here in Baku. And I would say the parts that are vibey is probably like half of it. Because it seems like there's actually a lot of people still living in the old town. So like I would say 50% of it is probably residential. And then you have the tourist bit, you have a madrasa, and then of course a bunch of restaurants and shops. So you can easily see the old town within a day, I would say. Now, if it isn't enough with Baku looking like Paris, actually they also have here an area just behind me, an area called Little Venezia. So basically there's a bunch of small rivers and bridges that resemble that of Venice in Italy. And then you can hire a small gondola to have a guy sailing you around some restaurants. Whether or not you call that authentic, I don't know, but it still looks very nice. We just had lunch at Crescent Mall, which is part of the entire Crescent project behind me here. And the mall is complete, but the Crescent Hotel, the big Crescent that you see there, is due to be completed in, I think, 1 to 2 months. Currently it's September 2025. Apparently they have been building it or constructing it since 2009. So it has been underway for a long time. And I think a lot of people here are super eager to see it when complete, also because it's quite a statement piece to Baku as a city. Surrounding the Crescent Mall, there is a big park called the Victory Park, which we are currently walking through, with a very big monument over here, which I'm very keen to see what is. And I'll try to figure out what exactly it's there for. we've come out to the Baku flag post, or the flag post square as also called. And basically it serves as a patriotic symbol for the nation. And around the base, which you see here, you have the national anthem written, you have a bronze map of the country, and you also have the coat of arms down on the sides of the base. The flagpost construction began in 2007, and until 2017, it was the tallest flagpole in the world at 162 meters. Then it was taken down due to repairs and stuff. The flag by then was weighing like 350 kilos. Then after the repairs, they decided to make the flagpole even bigger. So now it's 192 meters, and the new flag, which you see all the way up there, weighs nothing less than 500 kilos. The square provides a quite nice overview of the city, and up there you can see the flame towers. If we go over there towards the edge, you can see Sissel, and behind over there you can see the Crescent Park on the other side of the bay. So it is quite a nice place to walk around. There's not any other tourists here currently. There's one security guard, and that's about it. Kind of wondering if it's possible to get up into the flag. Probably not for us, but the flagpole down in the bottom, I believe, is 5.2 meters wide, and up in the very top, I think it's around like 2 meters wide. I mean, there must be a ladder in there. Now here you have the map of Azerbaijan. You can see the main part of the country there, and here you have Nakhchivan, which is the region not connected to the rest of the country. Now Nakhchivan is basically cut off by Armenia, which is not shown obviously in the photo. So the only way to access Nakhchivan is to drive south into Iran and then up back into Azerbaijan. Up here in the southwestern part of the country, that's where you have the Nagorno-Karabakh region, which I mentioned earlier, which is the war-torn area back from the 90s, from which the heroes have a monument up close to the flame towers. Back when we visited that monument a few days ago, I might also have confused those two regions with each other. Apparently that's quite a common issue for non-Azerbaijanis. So to clarify, Nakhchivan is a region not connected to Azerbaijan, and Nagorno-Karabakh is the region in the southwest part of the country where they have also fought against Armenia. And that region also has many Armenians living in it. This is a view that you can see up here from the square. And as I said, over there you have the Crescent Park, and all the way out there you can actually see some of the oil refineries, because from the chimneys you can see a fire once in a while. So up there is where they make a lot of money. Now from the flag post behind me, that's actually where the entire boulevard or the promenade starts, all towards the Crescent complex and even out to the Marriott Boulevard Hotel, I believe. So that's probably going to be a stretch between 8 to 10 kilometers in total, but it's flat along the way, super easy to walk, and especially when you're walking with a baby pram, it is super convenient. So it's an easy way of accessing the different areas of the city. Also, what I think is important to point out is that it is super clean here, and that is the case through, I would say, the majority of the city center. Also down here on the boulevard, throughout the entire boulevard, behind me you can see some people cleaning. There's often also a bunch of different gardeners that are maintaining all of the greenery, so it is really pleasant to walk around here. And it seems like they know how to employ people, and the people are not afraid of taking manual labor. So I think that's cool, and it makes a really pleasant city to walk around in. So we just had a lunch in a restaurant called the Old Garden here in Baku Old Town. I did try to find one of those Caravanserais, which is basically the places where merchants during the Silk Road era would come and stay, eat, store their goods and so on before they went onwards on their travels. And when you see photos of them, it basically looks like, you can say, some of the madrasas that we also saw in Uzbekistan 1.5 years ago. So it looks like a super awesome setting to have a restaurant in. But 2 of the 3 Caravanserais are currently closed. I did find a 3rd one that actually looked very nice after we'd had our lunch. So we might go and try and visit that at some point. The 2 others that are currently under repairs, they were for people coming mainly from Bukhara in Uzbekistan, but also from Multan, so present-day Pakistan actually. So they would come here, store their goods and so on, rest before they headed further west. Really interesting. Today we've gone out to the Haydar Aliyev Museum. Unfortunately, the entire space in front, right here, is being grinded down, so there's a lot of dust overall, but it seems like they're still taking some breaks to basically let people in without coming with a full dust storm. The architecture is one of the reasons why this building is super famous, and it is a really good looking building. We bought tickets for the car exhibition, which is a bit cheaper than the normal museum entrance, but you're only allowed down into the basement where the car exhibition is, and you're not even allowed into the cafe of the museum. So that is just a thing to notice. At least we were not told when we bought the tickets. So now we'll try and find a Bolt car to get into the city center to get some lunch. Huh? I cannot go there? Is it closed off? Really? I thought it was open. Didn't it open last year? Is it closed? The entire park? October. November. Okay. It's nice, right? It's so it will be the entire park opening. Everything, November 8th. Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I wanted to make it like a video of, you can say everything. Also because it looks nice. That's perfect. I can do that.
Your name?
My name is Casper.
Casper.
Like the ghost, you know, Casper the friendly ghost. All right, so today we've come back to the Victory Park because I wanted to understand a bit more of what it actually was. So it turns out that this monument was built last year, opened in 2024, and it's built to commemorate the victory that happened in the Second Karabakh War, which took place in 2020. Now, the monument is built of 44 pillars and is 44 meters high. That is to symbolize that the conflict lasted for 44 days. So yesterday, on September the 27th, they actually had a holiday here in Baku, because that was where in 2020, on September the 27th, that the conflict started 5 years ago. The conflict then lasted for 44 days, which is why the monument is built like it is. Currently, it's not allowed to walk under the monument and to enter the actual park because it's under maintenance, which again will mark 44 days since September 27th. Today we rented a car and drove out northwest out of. Today we rented a car and drove. Today we rented a car and drove out northwest out of Baku. We've come out to these candy cane mountains, which has been given the name due to the red and white color combination known from candy. The geological reason for why it looks red and white is because of the mix of iron oxide in the mountains and also the limestone. So that's why there's these layers of white and red that you see, which is super nice. Unfortunately, it is super overcast today, so there's no shadows, which means that everything looks a bit sort of bland, but it still looks super cool, and it looks like it's basically the entire valley that we're driving up in that has these on one side especially. So basically, this is the foothills of the Caucasus Mountains, and those of course goes on into Georgia, and you can say basically when you look at a map, forms the line between Georgia and Azerbaijan, and then up towards Russia in the north. So apparently mud volcanoes is a thing. Now, I saw in a YouTube video that apparently half of the world's mud volcanoes are located here in Azerbaijan. Now, behind me right here is a small one. There's an even smaller one down here by my feet. And I just heard a big sort of gulp somewhere over there. I thought actually when approaching these that they were very passive, if even, you can say, completely off. But they do bubble a bit. So I'll see if I can find a bit more, and then I'll run down to Sissel so she can get up here while the baby hopefully still sleeps in the car. But it is very interesting. Now, I think the most popular place to go and see the mud volcanoes here in Azerbaijan would be down in the Gubustan National Park. That's 50 or 60 kilometers south of Baku. But on Google Maps, I found near the highway heading west, I found a few volcanoes. And the ones up there, on Google Maps at least, are called Vulcan 01. Now, if you remember the video from Turkmenistan, out in the desert we saw the Darvaza gas crater. That's actually somewhat similar to what you see behind me. However, the fire behind me has been burning for approximately 4,000 years, whereas the Darvaza gas crater has only been burning for 50 years, I think. The fire that you see coming out of the mountain here is simply due to gas rising up through porous sandstone. And since it has been burning for many thousands of years, there's never been any more sort of scientific reason for explaining why it started to burn. And of course, also during the centuries and thousands of years, it's also been subject to a lot of religious matter. The flames currently are, I think this one is the tallest one, goes up about 1 meter. And even though I am 3 or 4 meters away from it, currently it is super, super warm. They've also built this amphitheater around it. So I would imagine also that they use this mountainside for different events. It is kind of cool, especially because it has been burning for so many thousands of years. We're back at the old city and we just had lunch at a restaurant called Kenana, which is basically just when you come in from the northeastern entrance to the old town. Then right around the corner, next to the tourist information, you'll find that restaurant. Really nice, really well priced. We got kebabs, hummus, bread, kutab, which is these flatbreads you can get with pumpkins, for instance, that we got. And then drinks, and for all of that we paid 42 manat. So the equivalent of 20 euros, I think. So really, really not bad, given that we are in the old town. I was thinking the other day that probably we hadn't been through the entire assortment of Azerbaijani food, but also Nakhchivan food. And that's because normally when we go to any restaurant, basically, then we order hummus, we order kebabs, we order plov, maybe the kutab that we just had, the flatbread with pumpkin, and then of course hummus. And I think we do that because it is so distinctive for this region. At least that's what we think. And overall, the pricing for eating out here in Baku is really reasonable, I would say. Overall, we have not paid more than 90 manat, I think, was the most expensive lunch that we've had. So that's the equivalent of like 40 euros, I think. That's the most expensive that we paid for lunch. And then obviously today, which was only the equivalent of 20 euros, was, I think, probably the cheapest, where we also got drinks and a few snacks included as well. And basically what we've done now on this vacation together with the baby is that usually we eat out for lunch when she's awake, because that's just a lot easier. And then we walk around the city when she's sleeping in the pram. During the evening, when she needs a bit more attention, then we simply go back to the Airbnb apartment and then we order some takeout food or we cook it ourselves, which is a really amazing opportunity to have. Now, I'm not quite sure if I mentioned this already in the video, but the accommodation that we chose for this vacation was actually an Airbnb, which is not normal for us. Usually we go for hotels. Not to sound fancy or anything like that, we are not. But it was simply to have some more space, also for the baby to be able to have a washing machine, because that's necessary. So I found an Airbnb located in the Sabil area, which is I think a few kilometers south from the old city. It's basically right in front of the Ferris wheel, or the Baku Flyer, I think it might be called. And you see some of the buildings up there. It's basically behind this big one. So we are currently on the 9th floor in the towers behind, and we do have quite a nice view out over the ocean. And again, it's only a few kilometers into the old city. Now currently I'm standing here on the promenade in front of those buildings across the main road, and from the old city to here it was only 20 minutes walk. So I don't think that's bad at all.